jab up and down. And then when you go downstairs, take that downstairs, come up with the left hook. It's gonna be open, because it's gonna fall down into it. Anytime you jab down low, just keep trying to come over the top.
Or like you could say, hey, you know what? I can't beat that Mayweather style. I was too young, but look, I did it now against Crawford.
I forget Mayweather a long time ago. This is different for me, you know? I lost that day and that's it. I learned a lot.
So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford? Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was young.
Canelo Alvarez responded with intensity upon learning that Terence Crawford had sparred with Floyd Mayweather during his training camp. The revelation seemed to strike a nerve, with Canelo stating that this fight has now taken on a much more personal tone. He believes Crawford's actions have crossed a line, interpreting the sparring choice as a subtle act of disrespect aimed at belittling him. According to Canelo, it feels like Crawford is making deliberate moves to question his legacy, trying to portray him as vulnerable or outdated. He made it clear this won't be just another professional bout. Emotions are now fully involved, and Canelo warned that once they step into the ring, it will be far more than just business.
Tell me a little bit about that. Did things get a little bit personal now?
Yeah, a little bit more personal because, you know, I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say, I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that. And then he tried to, maybe Turki Al-Ashi told him, hey, you need to do something because you seem so nervous in Riyadh. So and he tried to like walk me back, and that's why I pushed him. And, you know, like I say, don't fuck with me.
Terence Crawford didn't hold back when evaluating Canelo Alvarez's career achievements. He voiced skepticism over Canelo's reputation, stating that many of the big-name opponents on his record were past their prime by the time they fought him. Crawford pointed out that boxers like Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, and Sergey Kovalev were already on the decline when they stepped into the ring with Canelo. He also emphasized that the one legendary fighter who was still in his prime, Floyd Mayweather, had decisively outboxed Canelo, which for Crawford discredits the claim that Canelo's resume is untouchable. Furthermore, he expressed frustration that Canelo frequently undermines his own accomplishments, brushing off the level of competition Crawford has faced, which he sees as an attempt to discredit his rise to the top.
Things about Canelo's resume, but I won't, you know. I wanna, you know what I mean, pay homage to the fighters that he fought. And if he don't wanna pay homage to the fighters I fought, if he think they nobodies, then come fight time, then I wonder what they're gonna say after I beat him.
Promoter Eddie Hearn offered a more balanced view of the looming clash, acknowledging that Canelo will enjoy a natural size and strength advantage in the ring. However, he was quick to point out that Crawford's intense self-belief and razor-sharp focus make him a truly dangerous opponent, regardless of the size disparity. Hearn explained that boxing is as much about mindset as it is about physicality. He emphasized that Crawford's mental toughness, combined with his disciplined approach, gives him a real shot at pulling off the upset. He also highlighted Crawford's masterful ability to control tempo, manage distance, and dictate rhythm as key traits that could potentially neutralize Canelo's physical edge.
Not for him, like not against him, sorry, for him. Like he's so. I think he has no doubt that he beats Canelo Alvarez. I really like Terence Crawford. I think he's a great fighter, but I have to say, like, tell me his major significant wins.
Well, obviously, I respect.
Yeah, but
right.
come on.
But, no, but he beat a guy who was in the top 5 pound for pound, and he destroyed him. That's really never happened.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, he was coming off, you know, some eye problems, but
nobody was saying that when he was beating.
But we're giving that credit.
And Ugas.
Tell me more.
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
That's a big win. Now,
okay. Keep going.
Your guy from the UK who we stopped him. What, in the 5th round, was it?
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook.
Finish fight. Yeah, go on, keep going.
Okay, he stopped somebody that nobody's ever really can hurt.
Well,
Sean Porter.
I mean, yeah, but that was about 8 years before, and Errol Spence.
That wasn't. What do you mean?
Yeah, when he beat Sean Porter.
No, that was in 2023.
Who?
Terence Crawford beat Sean Porter.
No, I'm talking about Kell Brook against Sean Porter.
No, I was talking about Bud. I'm not talking about that. But he stopped him. Nobody's ever able to really hurt Sean.
By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
That was a great
this
win.
is like an open.
And he didn't have a lot of names at 140, but Postal and all those guys, those are good fighters. They weren't big names. Just like Bam, he doesn't have he doesn't have a whole lot of great names. Just like
No,
just like
Estrada,
in a
he
way,
beat
no, in a way,
Ronda,
in a way,
a couple.
in a way, yeah, he does have two great fighters. But in a way,
by the way, he's one of
in
my
a way,
favorite
doesn't
fighters.
have a bunch of.
John Ryder, who has personally gone toe-to-toe with Canelo Alvarez, shared a unique perspective shaped by experience. He described the physical intensity of fighting Canelo as overwhelming and made it clear that jumping weight classes, as Crawford is doing, presents massive physical hurdles. Still, Ryder didn't count Crawford out. He praised Crawford's exceptional skill set, highlighting his mental toughness and in-ring adaptability. According to Ryder, Crawford possesses a rare blend of intelligence and technical ability that could allow him to offset the physical disadvantage. For him, Crawford is one of the few fighters capable of rising to such a monumental challenge.
Can he go up 2 divisions? A lot of people in his camp believe that he's even going to stop him, but yeah, what's your thought?
If there's any man that could do it, it would be Terence Crawford, but I just think the sheer size of Canelo is going to be too much on the line.
But do you think size will be too much? I mean, you were in there with Canelo, you landed good shots and he took them, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Terence Crawford is an exceptional talent, but I think the size will be the factor on the night and it'll just be too big, too strong.
Terence Crawford has been methodically preparing a two-pronged approach to defeat Canelo Alvarez. One strategy involves pressing forward aggressively, disrupting Canelo's timing, breaking his rhythm, and outworking him with high volume and pressure. The other approach is more cerebral, a defensive masterclass inspired by Mayweather's success using slick movement, sharp counters, and elite-level footwork. Crawford openly acknowledges that he doesn't share Mayweather's size advantage during his prime, but he's confident that his own timing, hand speed, and ring IQ can bridge the gap. He sees himself as a versatile hybrid fighter, one who can pivot between tactical discipline and explosive aggression depending on the situation.
There's 2 things that you can do with somebody bigger and stronger. You know, you can either try to push them back, you know, because 9 times out of 10, a strong fighter not used to going back, you know, so it kind of fucks them up in the head, you know.
Yeah.
Or you can just box them because some of them just slower than others because they got flat feet, and they just looking to load up on certain shots.
Now, Crawford's definitely right here. There's 2 ways to beat a pressure fighter like Canelo. Either you put the pressure back on him, which is where guys like Triple G and Bivol had success, or you use your superior skills and footwork on the outside, which is how Floyd Mayweather won. Now, Crawford, he can't use the pressure approach because he's not as physically dominant as guys like Golovkin or Bivol. You know, Bud is a welterweight or junior middleweight jumping up. He doesn't have the size to push Canelo back. Now, the outside boxing approach, that is definitely Crawford's best chance against Canelo. You know, he is right, Canelo does struggle to cut off the ring at times. We saw that in the Skull fight. And he does load up on single shots now. But at the same time, Crawford is not the same pure boxer that Floyd Mayweather was. You know, Mayweather rarely got hit in that shell. And his form of countering, you know, a pull counter, for example, was, I'm not gonna get touched and then I'll make you pay. Whereas Crawford's style of counterpunching is different. Bud will take one to throw 2 or 3 back, and he can't do that against Canelo because of the size and power difference. If Bud takes a clean right hand to throw back an uppercut or a hook, he's either going to get dropped or he's going to end up on his bike like Jermell Charlo. So while I do agree Crawford does have the superior skill set in this fight, but because he doesn't have the size to push Canelo back, or the defense of someone like Mayweather is safe, perfect for 12 rounds on the outside, I do think Canelo's size and power will make the difference in this fight, and that's why I like Canelo to win.
Joe Rogan's opinion on this matchup reflects a growing belief across the boxing world. He acknowledged that while Canelo Alvarez remains an elite competitor, subtle signs of decline, especially in speed and stamina, have started to show. On the flip side, Rogan sees Terence Crawford as a fighter who is only getting sharper and more dominant with time. He stressed that timing may be on Crawford's side, as he is now operating at the absolute peak of his abilities. Rogan pointed to Crawford's dominance across weight classes and ranked him at the top of the pound-for-pound list, concluding that this matchup is far more even than it may appear at first glance.
Do you liking Canelo versus Crawford? Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was younger.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he's going to win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win. He's going to have to box a brilliant fight.
If Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. Why do you say that? Same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. He's got to figure the angles and the approaches that will allow him to step in, land to the body, or occasionally upstairs, and then get out.
Jim Lampley, the iconic voice of boxing, offered a profound take on the significance of this fight. He described it as more than just a battle of styles or weight, it's a confrontation between two fighters driven by legacy, pride, and an insatiable hunger for greatness. While acknowledging the obvious size difference, Lampley stressed that greatness isn't determined by body type alone. In his eyes, both Canelo and Crawford are defined by their unwillingness to quit and their relentless pursuit of superiority. The fight, for Lampley, is a symbolic collision between two warriors who simply refuse to be second best.
Crawford is going to fight Canelo because even if I have some doubts and misgivings about the size matchup, it is two action fighters who like to fight aggressively at times, not all the times, going against each other, and we'll see who can open the other person's tuna can, so to speak.
Max Kellerman wasted no time placing Terence Crawford at the very top of boxing's pound-for-pound hierarchy. While he gave due respect to Canelo Alvarez for his past accomplishments, he was blunt in stating that Canelo's prime years are now behind him. According to Kellerman, Crawford has delivered flawless performances in recent fights, demonstrating total control against elite opponents regardless of size or style. He contrasted that with Canelo's less convincing showings against Dimitri Bivol and even John Ryder, suggesting that the current version of Canelo may not be able to keep up with a fighter as sharp and complete as Crawford.
Canelo, who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound-for-pound. Who was the best pound-for-pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Veteran trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas offered a deeply analytical view of the matchup. He called Canelo a complete and polished fighter, someone who's been meticulously developed and trained. But when speaking of Terence Crawford, Atlas shifted to a tone reserved only for the sport's truly rare talents. He referred to Crawford as special, a fighter with unmatched instincts, supreme intelligence, and the ability to adapt instantly mid-fight. Atlas cited Crawford's composure under fire and his merciless finishing ability as traits that set him apart. While he acknowledged Canelo's greatness, he hinted that Crawford may belong to an even more elite tier.
He's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Daniel Jacobs, a man who has faced Canelo in the ring and studied Crawford extensively, brought a detailed comparison to the conversation. He said that while both men are fast, Crawford's speed is a different breed, more sudden, more deceptive, and more lethal. Jacobs also highlighted Crawford's ambidextrous stance switching and his capacity to strike from unconventional angles, giving him an edge that even someone like Canelo might struggle to anticipate. After weighing the unique strengths of each fighter, Jacobs admitted that he would lean toward Crawford, citing his timing, tactical sharpness, and elite-level fight IQ.
But I had at least over 15 years of knowing him, amateur, professional. I've seen where he started. I've seen how he's gotten better over time, but I also just know what resides in him. He's a dog, he's a beast, and he's out to prove something too. So I'm excited about this fight. Canelo obviously is self-explanatory. There's really no need to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to him. But I do see this being as a 50-50 fight. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on Crawford. But also too, you can't count Canelo out. I mean, would go in, I'm assuming, as the favorite, which is rightfully so.
A lot of people say that version that you fought was probably the best, Canelo Alvarez. And since then, obviously, naturally, he's slightly declined.
Yeah.
Do you see this decline that people talk about?
Well, I can see in increments because Canelo, which I've always said is an amazing legendary fighter, but he fights in spurts. So sometimes it takes for the opponent to actually initialize him giving the best. When he was faced with me, the opposition that I had and what I was giving him, it was just a lot, whether it was boxing, whether it was coming forward, but most importantly, it was the punches and bunches. And so he was forced to either stand there, wait for the right time, or be combative and go back at it. So I think that's what Crawford may have to do, push the pressure, make Canelo fight, or maybe just play it safe, win on points, you know.
Brian Bomac McIntyre, Crawford's longtime trainer and one of the masterminds behind his success, radiated confidence about his fighter's preparation. He explained that every single aspect of Crawford's training camp, from strength and conditioning to nutrition, sparring, and film analysis, has been tailored specifically for Canelo Alvarez. Bomac emphasized that with time on their side, Crawford only improves mentally, emotionally, and physically. He described their preparation as not just intense, but strategic and purpose-built. In his words, they're getting ready for war, and no detail is being left to chance.
Different approach in terms of crafting a plan and going into camp?
No, not really. You know, we know the type of fighter Canelo is. So, as a fighter, you mentally prepare for things like that. And then as a trainer, just making sure he's sharp. His mental game is sharp, his physical game is sharp. Strength-wise, nutrition is everything. Got to, like I said, hitting on all cylinders. So by the time you step in that ring, it's easy picking.
Jaron Ennis, an exciting new face in the sport, approached the subject with measured realism. While he praised Crawford's exceptional skills and achievements, he cautioned against underestimating the sheer physicality of fighting someone like Canelo. Ennis pointed out that if Crawford isn't able to earn Canelo's respect with his power, the bout could quickly swing in Canelo's favor. He stressed that no matter how skilled a boxer is, at some point they must be able to deliver damage, and for a smaller fighter like Crawford, that may be the most difficult part of this battle.
More towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything.
Alexander Usyk, a man who has defied expectations across weight divisions himself, called the Crawford vs. Canelo showdown a fair and fascinating matchup. He acknowledged that the physical demands would be immense for Crawford, but said that his status as the best pound-for-pound fighter today gives him a real shot. Roy Jones Jr. added that everything will depend on Crawford's mindset and execution. According to Jones, if Crawford comes in laser-focused and implements the right game plan, he has the tools to defeat Canelo. But if he's even slightly off, the experience and power of Canelo could tip the scales.
Here for pro boxing fans, joined by, does he need any introduction, Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr. here in the UK. There's a few questions about the US guys. Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight. Lamont Roach shot the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation, and I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
And obviously we know if Canelo wins against William Skull, he will fight Terence Crawford in September. Who would you favour in that fight?
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove the world that he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Brian Norman focused on the legacy implications of the fight. He remarked that no matter who wins, the public narrative surrounding the outcome will be complex. If Canelo wins, some critics may attribute it to the size advantage and refuse to give him full credit. But if Crawford wins, it will be celebrated as one of the greatest achievements in modern boxing history. Norman said this fight is bigger than any single championship. It's about legacy, greatness, and solidifying one's place in the history books. For both men, this could be the defining moment of their careers.
With Canelo's experience over time, right? Even though Terence is the older fighter, he has, I think, 20 less fights than Canelo does, or maybe more. Well, I think more than 20. And also, you know, competition level. This will be the most skilled, most experienced, biggest, strongest fighter that Terence Crawford's ever faced, without a question.
I love you both, but you still did not answer the question. How do you see this fight ending? I told you. Don't say with your hands. I'm back out. I'm back about the ring.
Listen. Jack's trying to get that one line. He's trying to get that go viral moment from Bud, but he's just not that guy, right? And I think he's what he's about to say is like he's not going to go in there and be like, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do it in the first round. And plus, I wouldn't want to hear that, right? As much as that sounds nice as a soundbite, I wouldn't want to hear that because I don't think he believes it, and I don't believe it. I want to hear what Bud actually believes, which is, yeah, that he'll win, but not like this mystic Mac, let me predict the round, here's why, unless he truly believes that, and I don't think Bud does. I think he believes he'll get it done by any means necessary, whether that's, let's say, he was able to knock Canelo out or he gets it done by decision, doesn't really matter, because a fight is a fight at the end of the day, and all he needs to do is win.
Always in my mind doesn't exist a loss, you know. I train, I put my best, I dedicate myself to this sport, and I'm just thinking about.
Even though Canelo Alvarez is still viewed by many as the same dominant force he was during his prime, the boxing landscape has changed, and so has he. As Terence Crawford continues to dismantle narratives around Canelo's resume, fans are starting to question the true value of Canelo's most celebrated wins. Crawford's rise is forcing a reassessment, prompting the boxing community to look at past victories through a new lens. This fight has the potential to permanently reshape how both legacies are remembered.
So you heard about what Canelo said about Terence Crawford's resume already and how he has no elite fighters on his resume. And say what you want about that, you know, agree to disagree or whatever. What do you guys think of Crawford saying this about Canelo? Canelo fought great champions, but most were past their prime. But when they weren't, you saw what happened. Lara, Mayweather, and Bivol. Obviously, Mayweather was past his prime already, I'd say. But he's right. I rewatched the Lara fight, and, you know, that Cuban style is just tricky to deal with. And, you know, a lot of people would say that Lara won that fight. And then Bivol, it was, I mean, I don't need to convince you about that. That fight was a clear-cut victory for Bivol. And it just showed that Canelo isn't this unbeatable person. You know, with the right set of skills, you can beat him. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Has Terence Crawford fought any elite boxers? You could say, you know, Errol Spence, but then, you know, after the whole horrible accident that he had, so who knows, right?
That wraps up today's video on the explosive build-up to Canelo versus Crawford. Stay locked in, because the drama, tension, and legacy at stake are unlike anything we've seen in years. Until next time, stay tuned for more.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.